Welcome to Digital Charcuterie Casual Friday. We go casual on days like today. It's a lot of fun. Digital. I'm James. Today joining me, I've got Andrew Fantasia and Barry Brophy. Hey guys, thanks for joining me today on this Friday of casualness.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Andrew's jamming right now.
I'm telling you, on my wedding reception, 85 years from now, I'm going to just play this song nonstop.
Nice.
This is the one. This is what you need. You need to get going. Look, this is Digital Charcuterie. This is Casual Friday. The way things work here is on Fridays we go live and we just have a good time going casual, hanging out, discussing whatever. But for the most part, it's the emails that you guys send in. So send us an email at digitalcharcuterie@gmail.com. I'll put that. You can check out the email. It's scrolling on the bottom now. You can check that out. You can check out our memberships as well, but check that out for sure. And we talk about those on the show on Fridays, and it's a lot of fun. Today, though, we're going to start things off because Barry is a very big fan of giant sharks that like to eat people in the movies, not in real life. Well, maybe in real life. I've never actually talked to him about that or not, but definitely in the movies. So he got some exciting news about this movie called Meg Part 2 Cruise Control. It's Meg 2 The Trench.
Yes.
It's going to be directed by Ben Wheatley. What is your obsession with the Meg, Barry?
Well, to be honest, it was kind of in my Jurassic Park phase. If you remember back in the 90s when Jurassic Park came out and you're like, really, what can top this? And then you think of Jaws, the same thing. You're like, nothing really for like the past couple decades could really compete with those franchises until I kind of discovered the Meg series. Long story short, I ended up reading it in the early 2000s in middle school, and I was immediately hooked by it.
Middle school.
Interesting because I always call it the Jurassic Shark series, and that gets trended not by me personally, but just in general, because it's like the merging of these two amazing ideas of you take what's good about Jurassic Park, you take what we love about Jaws, now you combine the two, you add kind of a, like a Jurassic World dynamic to it, and then you just release Sharks and Havoc and all the good things about Deep Blue Sea, and you just see what happens. Initially, when I heard the movie, the first one was coming out, I was very skeptical because I was like, Jason Statham as the main character. I felt a bit like when Chris Pratt was cast for Jurassic World. It's like, I don't think this is really his genre or story choice, but I'll give it a shot. And so then to see him actually do that role won me over, just like with Chris Pratt in the Jurassic World series. So I think having Jason Statham just kind of immediately elevated it for me. And then story-wise, the stories just get better and better as you read each book progressively. And there's about 6 books. So if you're willing to create a franchise or a world, you've got it right there. Super excited about the second book, just because if you didn't like the first one, I would say give the second movie a chance, because the book itself was amazing. The story really takes place as kind of a follow-up where they've actually caught this shark and placed it in some sort of aquarium. And then kind of all the antics that go with it. So if you can just think kind of the mosasaur idea from Jurassic World, but now, of course, the shark gets out. And now for about half the book, they have to come after the shark. And then you find out it's got additional babies as well. And then you have to, it's just him for half the book having to chase this thing down and get it back to these people. And the fact that people are now operating in a world where a megalodon in a cage is a real thing and just all the dynamics that come with it. One character I'm going to highlight is there's an awesome kind of antagonist called Celeste. I'm looking forward to seeing her cast in this role. And then again, if you submersibles driving around, racing away from sharks. I mean, the fact that they thought about putting this to movie standards and it got greenlit, and that in the first one it did fairly well, was surprising enough for me. So I'm all stoked for it. When you get kind of to the third and fourth book, now you're going to throw in other things like plesiosaurs and other dinosaurs that it has to contend with. Giant. I mean, it's just a good time. It's everything you love about the creature movie genre, but when it's told in a well-versed story, which is kind of nice. So it's not just that cheesy B-movie-ness.
People loved Sharks. Jaws, obviously a big hit. There's been 3 sequels to that one. Sharknado is the greatest shark franchise of all time. People are gravitated to these weird shark things, which aren't like Jaws, I guess, as a horror, but they kind of go more actiony. People seem to love this. Andrew, how do you feel? Are you a big Meg guy? Are you looking forward to the sequel? And have you read these books that Barry, I think he might be the ghostwriter on them because he promotes them more than any author I've ever. But Barry's got stock in the Meg series.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen Steve Allen and Barry together in the same room, so for all I know. But I love that you make the Jurassic Park comparison, Barry, because to me, when the Meg was over and I sat back and let it seep into my pores and I was like, okay, what did I just see? My first thought was like, hey, this feels like a fun 90s action movie. Every character looked like an action figure. It had that feel to it of a 90s kind of just schlocky fun B film. The kind of film that in grade 8, my friends and I would have been talking about nonstop. So that Jurassic Park parallel, it really, really fits. And then to top it off, there was the revelation that I had when I looked it up like a couple days after I first watched it. And I was like, oh my God, this is based on a novel? There was a novel about this story? This is not just like some vehicle the studio wrote to have Jason Statham fight sharks. That blew my mind. I've never read any of these books, but it was just like it was crazy enough for me when I learned that Jaws was based on a novel, but I was like, okay, that fits. That's a slower story. That's a character story. I feel like that could be a novel. The Meg, that's a book. And like, I'm so curious, just sheer morbid curiosity makes me want to get my hands on one of these books and take a look at them. But the idea that you're telling me now that Meg Part 2, The Trench, is indicative of the Jaws 3, let's put the monster in SeaWorld and watch it eat paying customers. That turns a corner in this plot. And I wasn't super on board with the idea of seeing the Meg 2 : The Trench. But after that, Barry, now I'm buying my ticket. I'm going to SeaWorld and I'm going to watch this megalodon eat people because I am just floored that they were able to take this Meg idea and keep building and extrapolating on it. And what I do love the most, and I hope they amp this up in Part 2 and whatever else they do, is the idea that these books are kind of sort of sci-fi, like they are, 1 year in the future sci-fi kind of thing. And you see that a bit in the first movie with the submersibles. Like nothing quite looks like that yet in the real world. Their technology is just a little bit ahead of us. So I kind of want to see them double down on that and make it not just another movie with sharks, but a sci-fi movie with sharks. Embrace that sci-fi-ness a bit more. I think they could have a lot of fun with that. Do the books get into that more? Like by the time you get to like book 6, are there robots or something?
Not as crazy as that, but they start including other marine dinosaurs, which gets very exciting.
Okay.
And so the premise is they're using the Mariana Trench. Long story short is a group of species, kind of like the whole giant squid when we discovered that and realized that it's still around. They're using that premise as the Mariana Trench is so deep that this is where the prehistoric creatures survived, hence the submersibles and the diving around and kind of figuring it out. So they really build upon that. And then, of course, they start making it, discussing the whole concepts of franchises and how do you keep these monsters? Should we keep these monsters? If you breed them, should they, and then inserting a bunch of fun locations. Like you said, you're looking forward to the shark eating people. There were some really good chapters in the book where you have this group of kayakers just going in the ocean and talking about them dealing with that. And then, the various beach scenes where people just have no clue what's going on. And all the time they keep going back to Jonas and his crew. They're like trying to tail this thing before it keeps getting into these public places and dealing with that. So
I have a question for you then, because I haven't read these books, obviously, and I've seen the Meg, and it's a lot of fun. But do you think, because you compared it to Jurassic Park, and there's 6 books, and what you're saying now is it seems like it gets kind of cool and deep and interesting and very intriguing. Do you think they might have, I mean, they're making a sequel, so maybe not, but do you think maybe they took it in the wrong direction? They could have been a little bit more, like Jurassic Park is Steven Spielberg. That was like a big, like, oh, we got to go see Jurassic Park. It was a bigger event. The Meg felt like it kind of came and people were like playful. It wasn't Sharknado playful, but people didn't take it as seriously as you're making it seem it could have been. Do you think it could have been an even bigger franchise than they're letting on? Or are you happy with where it is?
I think it could have been better. I think what hurt it the most is probably the last decade. Like you mentioned Sharknado. And then there's this, I know when you had, was it Dominic Pace, who played Gecko from Star Wars? I believe he was in one of the sci-fi versions of the Meg. So there's a whole series of Sci-Fi Channel only movies, Meg as well, which have nothing to do with the series. So I think people conflict the two. So when you say the Meg, everyone's going, "Oh, it's that horrible sci-fi series where they just kept churning out movies," and I think that's really kind of what has dampened it out. But with these books, it's kind of more of like a fresh start where it's like, no, it has nothing to do with these fun, cheesy creature films. This is a intense story in and of itself. I just think as far as marketing goes, I think having that prior to it is what's hurt kind of the interest.
Interesting. All right. We're going to move on now. Barry's time as the Meg fan is come and gone. You know, we're going to watch the Meg, Andrew. We're going to go to Seattle and we're going to watch the Meg.
We're going to play the Thai version of Hey Mickey nonstop on the way there too.
Before we get to our first email, we got to take a look at the chat. And we've got Two Rain 2 asks, what are some potential villains that you guys think will make it into the sequels? Referring to the Batman, guys. We're going to talk about the Batman in just 1 second. We have an email question pertaining to it. So let's see some Batman villains for the sequel. Andrew, you and I did a video the other day on the channel about how Warner Brothers used the villains perfectly, and I still maintain I think they did. And there's not that other ones haven't, but this one definitely did. And we talk about it right there. Matt Reeves, he mentioned he would like it, so I don't think it's going to happen. But I think Mr. Freeze is the one you bring in because I think you bring in Jason Todd and you kill Jason Todd, and you need Mr. Freeze to be the big bad in that one. He's not the one who kills Jason Todd, but he's the big bad in this one. So how about you, Andrew? I'll let you go first. What villains would you like to see?
I'd totally be down for a Mr. Freeze. I'm on the team of give us somebody we either haven't seen done well or haven't seen, period. So I want to see Freeze. I want to see Hush. I want to see the Court of Owls. I think they could do some really fun stuff with Calendar Man. I'm done with Joker. I'm done with Two-Face. I think we've got enough of them that we're good. So give us these curveballs that will get people talking about villains that nobody's talking about yet, like Egghead.
I will say, before we get to you, Barry, I will say, when I say Mr. Freeze, my thing is you've got to keep the Rogues Gallery alive. That's what you have to do. You have to keep it going. You don't just have the one villain. There's got to be a ton. And so for me in the sequel, Mr. Freeze would be there. The Joker would possibly be there. There would be a few. I love the Court of Owls idea, but that I just got to clarify. Mr. Freeze is maybe the big bad, but the whole Rogues Gallery, and you utilize them to the best of their potential. Like we talked about it before the movie, we were speculating maybe Mad Hatter is a drug dealer in it. Mm-hmm. I would love something like that to also happen. But Barry, let's go to you. What villains would you like to see in the Batman 2 Cruise Control?
So you weren't happy with Arnold Schwarzenegger as the Freeze?
Oh, no, I was. If anyone knows me, you know I was.
That's my favorite OG Batman. Yeah, I echo what you guys are saying. I think Mr. Freeze, it would be a bold choice. Mechanical villains and heroes are still a really big thing right now. So why not just take Mr. Freeze and make him kind of a real world adaptation? For fun, I'm like, why not Killer Croc? I'm all about, as I mentioned to James, I like throwing a little bit of cheese in there. So let's pick the most outrageous bad guy we can find, and let's try to give him something that's a little realistic. So the fact they did that with the Riddler, which I'm highly impressed by, just because I had the Jim Carrey version to compare him to. So the fact that they made this character amazing in the Batman, I'm like, now we can do stuff. And the fact that the Penguin is in there, I know that joke you made a couple weeks ago, or a week or two ago, James, about him riding in his rubber duck again. I'm like, you know what? Let's give us a crazy Saw-like Penguin. Let's take these villains and make them a little more evil, a little more calculated, a little more modern twist on it, and really get people's gears turning of like, oh my gosh, these people could really exist in a world where superheroes are real and actually fighting crime. And why not the Mad Hatter? Just scrolling through these, there's so many fun ones. I think Poison Ivy, really like to see her back again. She was one of my favorite villains. So I think start with those three, and maybe we can get some Robin and Nightwing action as well.
Yeah.
Let's bring up this way here from Two Ring 2. Also, Court of Owls could definitely work. I wonder if fantastical beings could work in this film style. I think they could. I actually really think that they could. I don't know if Matt Reeves wants to go there. I think that's the one difference is I don't know if he wants to go there. I think over time, though, it's a lot easier for him to get there. The more you kind of let things happen. We mentioned, at the end of the movie, he stabs himself with the adrenaline. People are saying it's venom, it's green, it's venom. I think it's just adrenaline, but you never know. I love the down to earth that they're doing, the reality version of it, but also it's Batman and superhero, and let's have a little bit of fun with it. So I think some fantastical creatures could manage to work. Poison Ivy is one that I think might. I would love to see it, but I think there's I think it could come off cheesy, is what I'm trying to say. I think if you try to make Poison Ivy real, trying to ground Poison Ivy, it just might come off as like a really bad like 90s like Mortal Kombat Annihilation thing. I don't know. That's for some reason I'm gravitating to like something cheesy like that. If you try to ground her in it, or like Super Mario Brothers the movie where they ground that in reality. Sometimes some things don't work so much like that. But what do you think, Andrew? Oh wait, we also got the ventriloquist. I know, Andrew, you're a big fan of the
yes.
I think that's ventriloquist. Yeah,
I'll take ventriloquist any day. I want to play ventriloquist. That part looks like so much fun. The Poison Ivy thing, she's such a wild card, and my mind keeps going to her too, Barry. But Poison Ivy is really the only Batman villain I can think of where she has a power and it can't really be explained by science. Like, she is a supernatural kind of character. And that is definitely tricky to do. But what I love so much about the Batman, especially if you compare it to the Nolan trilogy, is we have to remember the Nolan trilogy was super realistic, whereas the Batman is super gritty. And I think there's a difference. The super realistic feel, Poison Ivy wouldn't really work. A couple of these more outlandish people wouldn't really work. But the super gritty that we got in Batman, yes, it's dark, yes, it's brooding, but it's still heightened in a way. Especially, like, even though we didn't get a great look at it, the Joker's face didn't look like the proportions of a human's face. It looked like a comic book drawing. Everything about this movie was really heightened and just outside of the real world. So I think if they play their cards right, you can get people like Mr. Freeze, you can get people like Poison Ivy, and make them work in this like creation that they've given us. It's just going to be tricky to find the balancing act, because you're right, James. Otherwise, it ends up looking like Sindel from Mortal Kombat Annihilation. As much as I love Sindel, does she belong in the Batman? I don't know, but
maybe.
I think some people might take umbrage with that. So you got to be careful with these characters.
I don't know. She's already got kind of a fan base with the younger generation. I know. Mentioned DC Girls last time I was on. She's one of their main trio of characters. I mean, Harley Quinn, seeing her kind of come to the spotlight when, I remember the Batman series in the 90s, she seemed like such a background character to me in comparison to the movies. I think if you add a bit of Harley Quinn to it and then the Catwoman, merge the two and then kind of give Poison Ivy her own kind of spontaneity and spin on it, I think you'd be able to pull that off.
When we did that video, Andrew, I mentioned Jason. I'm going to do a Jason Todd video just on that, how I think that should be a thing. We'll have a conversation about that. But Harley Quinn is not a character I would automatically jump to in these because she's Harley Quinn, right? It's like you said, Barry, like the background in the animated series, an animated character, and she's Margot Robbie, and that's it. But that being said, I think you have the Joker as this secondary character. I think if you're going to keep the Joker around, which I think you should, sorry, Andrew, but just like background, secondary, third dairy, whatever, keep him around. Let us know he's still there. Like, that's a threat. When the Joker's there, that's a threat waiting to explode. But I think Harley Quinn would work beautifully in the Matt Reeves universe. I don't know if he's going to utilize her because he seems stuck in the 1960s Batman like me. But I think Harley Quinn is someone you can, because Harley Quinn is a lost soul. And they're really making her to be an anti-hero, and she's crazy and all that stuff. But she's a lost soul, and I think a character like that could really benefit this Batman. And in the story, how we were saying, Andrew, that the Batman and the villains are juxtaposing each other, and they're learning, and Batman is learning to become who he is through them. And the empathy he could have for Harley Quinn is something that you could really play with, and not take away from her being crazy and all that stuff, and have her be a real villain. But he could see that this is someone, like, he could see Dr. Harleen Quinzel in her and understand and try to figure out what's going on and become a better person because of that, and try to get her to become a better person. And I think that's something that could really work in this grounded Matt Reeves world in a way that would separate this Harley Quinn from Margot Robbie's brilliant Harley Quinn, and but still be true to the character and be true to the story that they're telling with the Batman in what they're doing. Because again, if you take away from, like, the great thing about the Riddler, like 2Rain2 is saying, is that they made him exist in this real world, but he also existed with the Batman, and they're two sides of the coin. And I think all the villains need to be that, and they need to go on these paths together. The journey needs to be all of them within the evil that is Gotham, I think.
That's well said. And you said the magic words there. You said Dr. Harleen Quinzel. Because we have Joker in a place where in movies we've never had him before, which is locked up where he belongs. And that's where he meets her. So to get that, we could see that story play out. We could see her visit him and try to help him as he's making friends with Riddler and whatever. And she slowly starts to degrade and go onto his side of things. And, you know, Matt Reeves has been really good at evoking the feel of the 60s show. You know, what if he gives us moments that evoke the feel of the 90s show? In all the Batman cinema we've ever gotten, like throughout our whole lives, the closest anything has ever come to feeling like the 90s show was that one little, like, 40-second long flashback in the Suicide Squad where Joker and Harley are in the Lamborghini and Batman lands on top of it. And she's like, "You're ruining date night, Batman." That felt like the cartoon, and nothing else has ever felt like that. So he could start to play with that too. We know Matt Reeves has love for the cartoon. He dropped the vengeance line and he referenced it back to that. So he very well could go down avenues like that. He very well could go down some avenues that are close to what we've seen there that we're not expecting. So yeah, Harleen, why not? But ventriloquist more so.
Ventriloquist would be great. Barry, any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm just super excited. I think, you know, as I was mentioning to you earlier, James, and just chatting in DMs, I think it's a fascinating way to tell movies now, and I think that's a really good way for DC to start standing out from the crowd, is if they're going to start telling the new Batman series. And again, you've got so much to pull from, having this hero and villain dynamic building and telling together. So just expand upon it.
Yeah, for sure. Let's move on to our email questions now. And our first email has a lot to do with the Batman. We're going to get, oops, wrong video. We're going to go, "Hi, James. The Batman just crossed $500 million, making it the highest grossing movie about a serial killer of all time. I've heard that a few times today now. Wanted to hear your thoughts. Peter Saugeen." Thank you very much, Peter, for the email. Highest grossing movie about a serial killer ever. Obviously, this movie wants to be Seven and Zodiac. They're definitely in there. And you know what? I've seen people who had no idea that those were movies that Matt Reeves said he drew from, and they came out and they said, "That reminded me of Seven." I was like, "Ha ha!" Sure you didn't hear that thing? He did a really good job emulating it. It's kind of funny though, like the best comic movies we're getting now are the ones that are going to emulate other movies, like Joker did King of Comedy and Taxi Drivers. That's all they're going to be now. The way to make a good comic book movie is to rip off the 70s and 80s and the 90s for Fincher. But yeah, $500 million. Don't know if it's going to get there. I saw a Forbes article that said it's probably going to peak around 7 something. But I don't know if it's a failure if it doesn't hit $1 billion. That seems to be the MO though, is like a superhero movie has to hit $1 billion now. For me, I mean, this movie's clearly a hit. They greenlit the Penguin show already. It's rated R, or it's PG. It's a hard PG-13 though. I don't know anyone that's going to bring their kids to go see this movie. It's not really something that they would even enjoy if they did see it, I don't think. So I think right now, $500 million, $500 million is a triumph and a success. Andrew, what do you think?
Oh yeah, the whole idea of you're a failure if you don't hit $1 billion is BS. Like, that is pure BS. It just goes to show how, I think, overblown our sense of financial victory has become, and we got to stop thinking that way. this is a movie that, like, the Scorseses of the world can argue all they want. This movie's art. Plain and simple. This movie is art. And it's going to be something people are talking about for years and years and years. And I think that it deserves to be seen by a lot of people. And the numbers are not lying. It is seen by a lot of people. That's what gets me excited when I hear numbers. It's not, yay, it's winning capitalism. No, it's, yay, people are being reached by this movie. And I want more people to see it. I want more people to experience it and to kind of be talking about it and questioning it like we are. And I just think that the whole serial killer thing is just, it's the icing on this cake. I mean, it's Batman. Batman's always going to make money. But I don't think this is going to go down as any kind of failure by any stretch of the imagination. No. Am I crazy, Barry?
No, I don't think so. I'm still going to remain cautious. I think it goes $500 million. Like to hear, I'm open though to hear arguments on how it could top $1 billion. And again, you know, it's doing well. Like you guys mentioned, I think a lot more people are getting involved in it. And I was, as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, skeptical. So I was just like, is this just another Batman movie? But I think these dynamics and the more people I talk to and having seen it, like they're doing something new and different. And I think that's refreshing for the franchise. So love to see more movies come out. That type of story.
It's refreshing for the franchise and for the genre as well, because as great as the MCU is, it's like at some point, are we, like, you know, we didn't have them for a whole year. Then we got 3 of them in like the span of 4 months, and they're going to keep, you know, now we're going to get TV shows and more stuff. And it's good that Moon Knight seems to be pushing the boundaries and being a little bit different. They're going to have to change it up. And that's why I really am excited for the Werewolf by Night and stuff like that they're doing over at Marvel, because you got to get out of that rhythm. I know it's a great rhythm and it's very successful, but eventually, you know, Rome fell. Like everything falls. So you got to get your rhythm, figure it out. And if that doesn't work, you've still got your rhythm. Like you can still go back to what's working, because it hasn't failed you yet. But I think it's nice to get out of your, you know, your safe zone and your nest. And this, what they're doing with the Batman and Joker is a great way to separate them from other superhero films. The one thing though is the Joker did crush $1 billion. It cracked $1 billion, right? It made over $1 billion. But I think the difference between the Joker and Batman is I think a lot of comic book movie fans view the Joker much differently than they view the Batman when they went to go see it, right? You go to see the Batman for a superhero movie, but you go to see the Joker almost for that character study, right? It's almost like your mentality going into these movies is different. But right now, it's not looking like the box office that's affecting the box office in any way. It seems like people are buying into what the Batman is giving them. But that's the one thing that I think the Joker had going for it over the Batman is also the shock value. It was like, how is a movie about the Joker this good? And people were like, I got to go make sure I saw that for real. And they kept going back to see it because it was. But now that shock value is not there for Batman. So I don't know. I think Forbes is probably right. It'll probably hit between 700 and 800 million. And I don't think that's going to affect me in the least. Also, April 19th on HBO Max is going to affect it.
Yeah, that's a big asterisk to put on the end of whatever this ends up making. And that's, you know, that's their own doing. That's their choice. But whatever. They're the experts, not me. So if they want to stream it that soon, fine.
Yeah, okay. So Batman's gonna make a lot of money. And let's go to our next email question. Hey,
ooh.
I know you're excited about Sonic 2, and I was wondering if you think it will be good or another terrible sequel. I have to say, I loved the new poster. Thomas A. Loved the poster. Loved that poster to death. It was awesome. It was the video game, but a little more crazy and Jim Carrey. Also, I think Sonic 2 is going to be a lot of fun. I don't know. I mean, I like Sonic 1, but I don't think Sonic 1 is one of those, you know, it's not the Godfather. It's not hard to, I don't think it's hard to surpass it.
You take that back.
I don't think it's going to be hard to surpass it. And it looks like the thing is, Sonic is a franchise that blows my mind because I have cousins who, my cousin's son is 4. And for the last like 2 years, he's been obsessed with Sonic the Hedgehog. I have friend Steve, who comes on the show on Tuesdays for Super Tuesday. His boys are obsessed with Sonic the Hedgehog. They want to see the movie. They're bigger Mario video games, but Sonic, you gotta watch Sonic. They love Sonic. Yet there's like no Sonic merchandise. It's slowly coming to the stores. The Sonic is massive. I think this movie is going to be huge because I think these trailers and this poster is 100% everything every child loves about Sonic the Hedgehog. It's not like the other trailers where they're like, oh, here's James Marsden and some weird thing that we'll fix up in a year. It's like, here's Sonic, here's Tails, here's Knuckles, here's Jim Carrey looking like Robotnik. Like, it's just everything about this is screams Sonic. I can't see why. And the pandemic is like, no one cares about it anymore. I can't see people being afraid to go see this in the theater. I think this movie is going to be a hit, and I don't know if it's going to be good, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I am going to go see it, and I will do an out-of-theater reaction like this. Oh my God, it's Sonic! So I don't know, what do you guys think?
Let me, Barry, let me get you to answer that question first, because I'm going to quickly run and get something that it's going to prove a point for my answer here. So go ahead, Barry. What do you think of this film?
I got notes. That's how excited I was to talk Sonic.
I love it.
I think the first point I'd make is I think it was really wise to listen to the fans and to fix Sonic in the initial first movie, where they're like, this isn't the Sonic, the Sonic. And now look is what happened. Now it's exploded. So having watched the second trailer, or teaser trailer, and then the current, final trailer, the two are night and day difference. And I like the fact that, me and my family, we were going to go see Sonic anyway. I was going to bring the kids, so they would have made great money off me when it comes to snacks and seeing it multiple times. But now with this new trailer, now they're throwing in Easter eggs, and I got super excited because it looks like they're trying to go the Sonic X route, if you remember that from the other days. I think it would be very smart to set up a multiverse like that. I can kind of see the seeds being dropped in that already. I saw green hills in the trailer. That was awesome. I saw a Snow Mountain reference from the Ice Mountain level in Sonic Advance. I love the Chaos Emerald plot. That's been one of my favorite parts about the Sonic franchise. And then I'm very curious to see how they're going to pull from Sonic 2, 3, and then just Sonic and Knuckles as well, and kind of mesh this all together. It's very exciting. And I mean, if they play their cards right, you could really, I'm like, well, just make Sonic X into into your movies. So super excited.
A few weeks ago, we talked about the Sonic maybe having a cinematic universe, and I say go for it because all the kids are going to love it. Andrew, what did you just do?
I think I lost your audio, guys. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
It's a little.
I can't hear you guys at all. Hold on, let me see something here.
Andrew unplugged his microphone.
I can't hear you at all. This is heartbreaking. Oh no. I don't know what happened.
I hear you, Andrew.
Yeah, we hear you, Andrew. Give me a thumbs up when you can finally hear us. Maybe unplug and plug back in. I'll text him. I'm excited for Sonic 2. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm texting Andrew right now. Headset back in. Like I said, like you have kids. Like how are I don't understand the obsession with Sonic. I mean, I loved Sonic when I was a kid. I was a huge Mario Brothers Sonic fan. I love them both. I can't get over the fact that it's lasted this long. But but for your kids, like, do you get toys for your kids? Like, I can't find toys. They're hard to come by.
Well, I have two daughters, just for reference for the crowd. So finding them Sonic toys that they enjoy are a little bit hard. They're more kind of like Amy fans with the sledgehammer.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
I would just argue that the action figure, stores in general, I think, are hurting, and they're trying to be a little more calculated in what they make and what they don't, in comparison to, say, like a decade or two ago, where everyone's like, here's a movie, dump millions of dollars in these action figures people might buy. I think the games, Sonic for us is a family thing. And James, I go back to my sleight of hand against you on the Mario thing. I think Sonic's just easier to play when you're that age. I have a 4-year-old, and they can play that. When they play Super Smash Brothers, so they know they can pick Sonic. My wife, that was one of the few games that she remembered playing up, so now she plays it religiously. Now that we've got kind of the Sega Celebration packs on the different consoles. So again, I think having it being an easier playing game opens up your genre, and now you've got generational memories kicking in as well. So the parents that played Sonic as a kid now are having kids and introducing them to the games, and now there's a movie, so It's just all this, the different merchandise and different ways you can view and enjoy Sonic. The various TV shows throughout the year. I mean, Sonic X, I didn't realize wasn't the only adaptation. They had a couple of Cartoon Network ones as well.
Yeah.
But again, they've been smart in the longevity of it. And I think in comparison to like Mario, outside of Japan, I think in the kind of the West, it would be smart if Nintendo kind of got back on that bandwagon and putting out more than just your Mario games. Start putting out the shows and the fun events, the toys, what you're seeing right now. Ironically enough, my youngest daughter, she enjoys Mario and Pac-Man because there's some kid little
amazing. You're dead right though. Sonic is a lot easier to play than Mario because Mario, like Sonic, is just go fast, right? If you collect enough rings, you can run into whatever you want for as long as you want. Mario, there's a little bit more skill, I guess, required in it, but Sonic is just go fast and collect all the rings and everything. And I think they're both a lot of fun. I have a lot of Sonic games, though. I did love Sonic growing up, but it's so much fun. We have lost Andrew. I don't know what what he wanted to show us, and he's very sad about it. So I told him to leave and come back. So hopefully he'll do that. But we'll go back to him. We'll go to our next email question and then revert back to Fantasia when his technology works again. So here we go. Our third email question is, hi, James. I'm excited. Not only is Daredevil on Disney Plus, but they announced a new season. But they said it is going to be a reboot. I don't know how I feel about this. Do you think it will be rated R? Melanie Myers. I got to I don't think it's going to be rated R. I don't think it's going to be as dark as the Netflix shows. I've heard Moon Knight reviews, Barry, where they're saying it's darker than the MCU, but it's not, it's not overly dark. It's still the MCU. It's just, it does push the boundaries a little bit of what we got. I'm excited for season 4 of Daredevil. I think it's going to be a soft reboot. I think you're going to be allowed to acknowledge what's happened on the Netflix shows, but they're never going to come out and say that those happened. But I think if you wanted to argue that they did. They're not going to retcon the stuff that happened there, I don't think. I think that's how it's going to live. It's still very early on, but the Daredevil Netflix is one of the most beloved, Marvel shows of them all, right? WandaVision, Daredevil are the two I think most people like, and then Loki, obviously. So I don't know. I don't think it's going to be rated R, though, and I think it's going to be a soft reboot. I think reboot is just what they're saying and we probably will get new characters in it as well. Where you're still going to have your Foggy Nelsons and whatnot, but you're going to get new characters. Barry, how do you feel about this?
Yeah, I'm with you. Disney plays it safe. Unfortunately, they're not going to do a rated R movie. I think that's kind of more Warner Brothers. Again, for the Netflix series, the amazing accomplishments it did, and when it comes to like choreographed fight scenes and just ways of cinematography in general, they really kind of left a dent in the market and left their mark in history. So I think what I see them doing is they're kind of going to go the Spider-Man No Way Home route. I think bringing in the villains from Sony was smart. Now you've kind of set a precedence that this is a thing. So I could see them totally doing that with season 4 of Daredevil.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. The multiverse is allowing things to happen, and you can weave in and out all you want. I just don't think that. I hope it's good. I love Daredevil. Daredevil is one of my favorite superheroes, and I was very excited for his Netflix show. And I'm excited, and I was disappointed when he wasn't in Endgame. It was kind of weird that none of the Netflix guys were in Endgame. Also made a lot of sense because of the behind the scenes shenanigans that were going on. So I was excited for that, and I'm hoping that we get I'm hoping for it to be fun, though. I'm hoping for a fun Daredevil show. We've got the dark and gritty. This is something that is dangerous now, is what if they don't do it as dark and gritty and fans are anticipating the dark and gritty? Do you think people could be disappointed by that?
I think it depends on your fan base. If you're a normie, and I use that term with endearment, not criticism, it may be because you've already kind of set that precedence again that these are gritty movies. But I think if you're kind of a super fan and appreciate kind of all the different things they've done, you'll be happy with it. But again, I think you can do both. I go back to kind of my original thing about superhero movies. For me personally, is kind of what you're getting when you walk in. I like being surprised. Don't get me wrong. I think you can do realism, but then add a little bit of cheese, a little bit of comments where it kind of puts you back in the seat of, yeah, this is a superhero movie, but it could be real, and this is what could happen. It's kind of my take and how I kind of approach superhero and supervillain movies. So I enjoy but throw in a bit of cheese, because let's be honest, like Jim Carrey in the Riddler suit from the 90s. I mean, how outrageous is that? It brings you back. It lets you know, okay, this is a superhero movie. It's fun. It's exciting. He's crazy. He's demented.
Sometimes you have to have fun with what you're doing.
Yeah, good summation.
Yeah, like sometimes, it is superhero. You don't have to take yourself overly serious at all. Andrew's having a hard time getting back in. That's why he's not here. Yeah, so that's
the Marvel movies, they did that well. And I think if you're going to do any superhero movie going forward, you need to learn how they did their comedy and how they weaved it in creatively, regardless of if you're telling the story of a hero or a villain. It works. Works for the generation of fans that are currently enjoying these films. You've got mothers and fathers, kids, even people, grandparents who are enjoying that.
No, you're absolutely right. That's so true. Family, sometimes you got to cater to that. All right, let's go on to our final email topic today. Bam, DC. Samuel L. Jackson said he talked about Mace Windu returning, but he also mentioned Nick Fury appearing in Ant-Man 3 and Captain Marvel 2 and Secret Wars. Don't think this was announced. Thoughts, Derek Levy? Thanks, Derek. I think it's slowly coming out now that he did say this on the Happy Sad podcast. No, we got a bot in the chat. Give me a second here. We got to go. Boop. Block user. Anyway, yeah. So I think it hasn't come out officially, but I think it's starting to leak. He said on the Happy Sad podcast that he was shooting Secret Wars in London, and they were also doing Ant-Man there and Captain Marvel there. And he said he did a lot of running around. He never actually said that he was in those movies, but now people are running with it and saying that they are in it. But I don't think it's any surprise. Do you, Barry, that Samuel L. Jackson would be in either of those movies? Obviously, Captain Marvel 2, I think we would expect him to be in it. Ant-Man is a bit of a surprise, but not a shock.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised with Marvel 2 or Miss Marvel 2. Ant-Man 3, again, I'm kind of with you on this. I'm not surprised because they've already kind of established he's a background character, but he still has importance. So it's fun how you can insert these characters like that into different movies, even if it's just for a couple seconds, or you make them a major, minor character accompanying the hero. Yeah, I mean, Samuel L. Jackson, the guy's got acting chops. He's done so many different genres, so many different styles of story. For Star Wars, that's my jam. So, yeah, bring Mace Windu back. But, let's not make it cheesy. Let's make it, provocative. Play a bit on kind of the whole dark versus light thing he battled with his lightsaber skills. I mean, there's really so many things you can do. And I think just for actors and actresses in general, we're in such an awesome time where you can, play the superhero that you grew up with. You can play the supervillain. You can have fun with it, and you can make it your own. And I think that's where a lot of these kind of, people like Samuel L. Jackson jumping into these genres, the various Marvel actors and actresses, same with the DC characters they've already sent, Shazam. I mean, just throw out, whatever film you've liked over the past 10 years is you're beginning to see people who appreciate these fandoms and enjoy the characters themselves, grew up on them, so it has meaning for them and you can see it in their portrayal. So I think let's celebrate it, put him in lots of things. I'm open for it. Samuel L. Jackson,
And Samuel L. Jackson, he loves doing this, and he loves to be a part of it, and he loves to be like the highest grossing actor of all time, like the actor with the highest grossing films of all time. That's like his shtick. He absolutely adores that. And so give him to it. Put him in Ant-Man 3. Ant-Man 3's got what Bill Murray has signed on for that. That should be a fun movie. I don't know what's really happening there.
Wow, I didn't know that.
But it's gonna be awesome, I think. Ant-Man 3. What was that?
I enjoyed that, man. I was skeptical of it at first. I like to have fun with a lot of the heroes that grow large and small. I think it's kind of cheesy myself, but I really enjoyed those movies, especially Ant-Man and the Wasp as well. Family enjoyed it as well, which is fun if you can convince me, because I'm already invested in the superheroes anyway. But when you bring in my family who's maybe not as knowledgeable or didn't really grow up with this stuff, and they can sit back and view the movie and go, wow, I really enjoyed that. And that was a different way of viewing a superhero movie, is a smart move. So I think just build upon that with Ant-Man 3. I mean, the sky's the limit at this point. We've established so many different variables that you could just pull from. I mean, have fun with it. Do something different. Use, test the waters, push the boundaries. I mean, the sky's the limit at this point.
I agree.
Andrew, Ant-Man 3, Samuel L. Jackson recently said on the Happy Sad Confused podcast that he is in London where he was shooting Secret Wars, and they also were shooting Ant-Man 3 and Captain Marvel. He said he had a lot of running around to do, so now everyone is speculating that he is in all 3 of those films. Does that surprise you at all?
No, he's Nick Fury, man. That's his job. Yeah. His job is to pop up everywhere. Ant-Man 3 is going to be a wild movie. It's going to be the Ragnarok of that series. It's going to do stuff. It's going to be bigger and crazier than the other 2, and it's going to really shift gears and take Ant-Man in a different direction. Guaranteed it.
I have actually heard that they're comparing it to Ragnarok, and people are saying they're not sure if Peyton Reed can handle that level of zaniness that Taika Waititi brings to it. So yeah, you're dead on, Andrew, from what the reports are right now are indicating that that's where they're at with this. That's cool. I love Ragnarok. I like the first 2 Ant-Man, though. They were very entertaining. You're right, though. And Nick Fury's got to show up. Secret Wars has me excited because I was saying earlier today, I kind of hope the multiverse stuff wraps up around the end of Doctor Strange 2. It's cool. The multiverse is cool, but it can also be too dangerous to use, if you know what I mean. Like you keep going to that well. I don't like it. It's not. You can overuse a multiverse like you can overuse time travel. And one thing that I really liked about Endgame was that they had an excuse why they wouldn't keep time traveling after that. They're like, we can't. I'm like, good, just stop it. And then they get blown up and everything. But it's like, no more, because the minute you introduce those, you can't go back. And there's the Harry Potter and the third Harry Potter film, which is like everybody's favorite Harry Potter movie, is my least favorite because at the end they're like, we'll just go back in time. And then the next movie, I'm like, well, why don't they just go back in time? Like they could go back in time, like just go back in time and stop this. But they're like, no, they never even mentioned that. I don't like it when they start doing that. So multiverse could be dangerous for me, I think. And I hope they wrap it up. Because I'm hoping Secret Wars and Secret Invasion. I hope that's what we're getting next. I hope that's your big event that you're leading up to now.
Yeah, lead up to something big. Don't rely on the multiverse, especially. I don't want them to rely on it to undo death, because I hate so much when a character's death is undone, and it's already kind of grating on me that they undid Gamora's death because Gamora's death was beautiful. So I feel like the more multiverses around, the more they'll be tempted to keep doing that. So I say finish it off once you're done with Kang and then move on. But more importantly, Sonic 2.
Yes.
If my computer will allow me to talk about it now, computer, do I have your permission to speak? Thank you. So what I ran to grab here, Barry, you were talking about just the beauty that we saw in that Sonic 2 trailer and like the Green Hill and everything like that and how much love was in there. That's what made me happy. And I wanted to bring this to show everybody here. Many, many years ago, like we're talking late 90s, somebody got this comic for me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I've read it so much, it's like falling apart, but I have it here, kept in this bag here. And this comic is the comic that made me realize that, the games are hit and miss. A lot of them are crap, a lot of them are great, but they're hit and miss. But this story in here made me realize just how damn dense the canon of Sonic is and how many characters there are and how much there's going on. And like Knuckles has a whole like family thing that puts like the young and the restless to shame. Like there's so much here. And I became obsessed with this story and I wanted to read the rest of the series. And it's like nobody owns the rights to it anymore. So it's not on Comixology or anything. It's like impossible to find and it's driving me bananas because I just want to know what the hell happens to Sonic and to Knuckles in this whole shebang here.
But that's what this movie's about, Andrew. This movie is a follow-up to that.
If this movie touches on Knuckles and the chaotics and the ants and all the crazy stuff that's in that comic, I'm never leaving the movie theater. I'm just going to sit there and keep watching it on repeat. So I hope in my heart of hearts that this movie does well and that it's not, as the person who wrote the email says, just another crappy sequel, so that people will continue to want to see more of this world. And we got a whole universe of Sonic movies because that would be so much fun.
Yeah, absolutely agree on that. We got to talk about one thing before we wrap it up today. This is how so I started this channel 4 years ago and then stopped doing everything for 4 years. Andrew kind of took the reins and doing Infinity Rewatch stuff. If you guys like Marvel, check out Infinity Rewatch everywhere you get your podcasts. Also, here Moon Knight's coming back. He's going to be doing a Moon Knight rewatch on the Thursday following the Moon Knight show day, whatever. But we got to talk about Madam Web. Madam Web has cast actress from Euphoria, Sydney Sweeney, in a unannounced role, a secret role for Madam Web, which that whole sentence is just dumbfounding to me. A secret role in Madam Web. Who can I don't know. Is there any character that people could be like, oh my God, Madam Web? I don't think so, but maybe it's just me. Andrew, you're a big Euphoria fan. We all know it's your number one show. You have all the DVDs, and you actually also have a VHS copy somehow. What do you think of this casting, and who could she? Well, I'm throwing you on the spot because I didn't say we're going to talk about this, but who could she be portraying?
Yeah, I had to convert Euphoria to VHS because what else am I going to watch when I'm in my safety bunker? Who could she be portraying? I saw rumors that she might be portraying Black Cat. And really, I think those rumors are only founded on the simple fact that they both have blonde hair. Like, that's literally it. I don't know. This whole Spider-Verse that Sony's building, it really baffles me. And the reason why it baffles me is because everybody is still jumping on the bandwagon of let's build a shared universe because Marvel is doing it so well. But the reason that Marvel continues to do it so well is that Marvel is always building towards something. Marvel is always basically saying, there's a party coming, and we're going to introduce you to everybody who's invited to that party before the party gets here. And they always make that very, very clear. None of these other shared universes do that. They're just like, here's stuff. So the fact that Venom is also kind of with Morbius, is also kind of with Kraven, is also kind of with Madam Web. It's like, okay, great. Why? Where's the party? Why do I care? And right now I don't, because it sounds like there's no party at all. It sounds like somebody needs to sit down and ask where we're going with this. And if this Sydney Sweeney or whatever, she's playing Black Cat, great. But why should we care that she's playing Black Cat? I think that's the question we should be asking. I don't know. What do you think, Barry?
I'm not too familiar with the castings or news on that, but I think to echo your point, the world building is very important, and sticking with a goal in mind with the story. And I would hope, given the experience that these studios have, that they'd be able to pull from these movies that maybe seem chaotic and start linking things together in a more depth way, in like your third, your fourth, your fifth, various TV shows. I am a fan of the Spider-Verse, I will say. I think I'd love to see Miles Morales come in to play. Yeah, Madam Web, why not? You know, my kids are personally waiting on Madam Web and Spider-Gwen, so...
Yeah, I was gonna say Spider-Gwen. I could see her coming in as a Spider-Gwen because think about this: the Sonyverse doesn't have a Spider-Man. There's rumors of Andrew Garfield appearing in Morbius, but those have been debunked apparently, so he won't be in there. There will be no Spider-Man in Morbius. There's obviously a picture of Spider-Man in Morbius saying "Wanted" or whatever it is from the PlayStation game, I believe. But there's no Spider-Man. So if you're not gonna have Spider-Man, we talk about here all the time that maybe it's Miles Morales in the Sonyverse. But if it's not gonna be Miles Morales or Peter Parker, why not give us Spider-Gwen? Why not just go balls to the wall and give us Spider-Gwen, because she would kick ass. And that is, to me, that seems like it would be a very smart decision, and maybe that's why they wouldn't do it, because I think that's a character that is known, but not obsessively like Peter Parker and Miles Morales, where you can kind of have some leeway in the storytelling of that character.
Yeah, you could do things with Gwen and with Miles that if you try to do it with Peter, you might get some pushback from fans. You might get some, more vocal fans being like, no, Peter wouldn't do that. # not my Spider-Man. But you can get away with a lot more. You're right. And it gives them more creative freedom too. I think that they could even possibly throw in some synergy with the animated movies, with the Phil Lord and Chris Miller movies. So it's there for them to take. It's just a question of what they're going to do with it. Again, you don't have to tell us what the party is. You don't have to come right out and say Avengers Infinity War. But as long as you tell us there's a party, trust us, then I'll have more faith in what this is. But right now, it's just like they're throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks, and they're not hiding that.
Yep. Yeah, that's how it seems. Unless, exactly, show us a plan. All right, we're going to wrap it up for today. It's been a lot of fun. It's Friday. It's casual. Andrew's not even wearing pants. It's been so much fun. Barry, thanks for joining us on Casual Friday. Is there anything that you want to plug other than the Meg?
No, follow me on various social media. If you enjoy talking film, superheroes, particularly Power Rangers and Star Wars, and the filmmaking process. Speaking of which, I'll just do a shameless plug.
Yeah.
So, Jay, I'm going to send you a photo of this, but this is my latest prop I've been kind of working on.
Oh, that's rad.
So I'm going to have it in a independent film in the near future. So
amazing. Yeah. That's awesome. You make some really sick stuff. So give him a follow on the social medias. And Andrew, you have a book.
I do have a book. I need to start keeping it near me. It's sitting on a bookshelf, which is nowhere near my computer. But it's called Side Scroller, and you can find it on Amazon. Right now, if you like paperbacks, it's paperback. If you like ebooks, it's also ebook, and it's also orange, which means it's a good book automatically. Orange books are always better than other books.
I had it somewhere near me, but I guess I don't. I had it when we did the last one. I don't know where I put it. You need to get that. You need to get that on Kobo so I can read it, and I don't have to get like carpal tunnel. It's 700,000 pages. If you like long books. If you're going on a flight somewhere, like a long flight, bring Side Scroller. It's a good read, though. Not to say it's not, but also it's a paperweight, and you can burn it, and you have a fire for a week. It's so big.
Yes, you can hit a man with it, and the man will die.
So phone book is what you're saying. I'm waiting for the audio version, Andrew. I want your narration.
I know. I need to get the confidence to do that because my voice is always, I'll narrate one chapter, and then I'll be dehydrated for like a week.
I'll stretch it out. That's one thing I've learned with talking audio.
All right, that's going to do it here. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Give us a like and a subscribe. And go follow them on their where they are. And until next time, may you be the master of your own. Have a good weekend, your own universe.
Knuckles!